Hi, everyone. This is John. I'm back for another interview with Julie. She's the founder of Nudge, which is one of the startups in our first batch of the Paralect Startup Accelerator this summer. How are you doing, Julie? And what's the latest news with Nudge?
Hi, John. Happy to chat with you again. Happy to be here. Latest news about Nudge. Well, we've been making a lot of progress with the team, and especially we've been working on design lately on the website and on the app as well. So on the website, we really improved a lot because I had only created a landing page. So that's a lot better now, and I feel like the process was very efficient as well. Because of the way we worked with Victoria's team, who's the head of design. Because as a solo founder, what's difficult is that there is a strong force of inertia at the beginning because everything you start is from a blank page. So it takes a lot of brain power to process all the potential ways that you could do things and pick just one option. So what Victoria did is that she suggested a website structure with some sections. So we need a section to explain the app benefits. We need a section, a contact form to sign up beta users, for example, and so on. So I only had to fill in the blanks then and make sure that there was no missing section. So that was very efficient. And about the app itself, I don't feel we radically changed the screens, but we did a much better work preparing for the development team. So we worked with Kseniya, who's the head of business analysis, and she asked me literally questions on every single detail of the app. So why is this here and why is that there? So we made sure that everything there had a purpose, that the flow was seamless between the screens. And also we tried to tackle edge cases as much as possible. So I feel like for the developers, it's going to be a lot easier to work on this. And the last thing we did is that Victoria worked on custom illustrations for Nudge to try to support Nudge goal, which is to inspire people. And I feel like that brought a lot of character, a lot of personality to the app. And hopefully that will manage to inspire users to really be who they are, because that's the purpose of Nudge, so that they can find the career that is made for them.
Super. It sounds like the progress in terms of design has been fantastic. And you guys are really ready to go into the build phase, the second phase that you're in right now, actually, with a lot of great assets, a lot of great momentum, and a clear view of what Nudge will be when you launch it. So super thumbs up there. Can you share a little bit about the workflow and the communication with the design team, the BA team, the other people that are involved, maybe Pasha as well, and any of the other advisors you talked to? How did you get on with the team? Did you discover some new things about Nudge that you hadn't thought of before?
Okay, that's a lot of questions.
Okay. How did you get on with the team?
Workflow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to that just after. So the workflow is it's super easy with Paralect because it's very obvious that you're used to building products from A to Z. So the steps have been very clear from the start. And I've also been provided tools to follow the progress. So workflow is really super, seamless, easy to understand. In terms of communication, I think that now we are in a very good place because we managed to build mutual respect, I think, between the member of the teams, which means that it's established that everyone on the team is really good at what they're doing. And that helps a lot because every time we disagree on something, so let's say I would like to make a change compared to what we've agreed on before, or one person on the team would like to add something that wasn't planned. Because there is this mutual respect, everybody listens first. And then, of course, we debate, is that a valid point, yes or no? But if it is, then we all brainstorm together and we choose the best solution together. So there's no defensiveness. So the communication is very open, and that's something I appreciate a lot. So as you can see, I'm really getting along with the team. I really like them a lot, and I think that they're doing a fantastic job.
Awesome. That's great. And the last part of that huge question, I think, was what new ideas or insights did you find during the product discovery phase about Nudge?
It's a great question because we found something that I feel really changes things. Because it improves nudge business model a lot. And that was the result of collective power again. I had 3 conversations. One with Kseniya, so the head of business analysis, where she told me that she felt the value proposition for colleges, for schools wasn't strong enough. Then I talked to Pavel, who's the head of the accelerator, and he pushed me to review the lean canvas, so the main framework that explained the business model of the company and everything. And he helped me see how we are better positioned than competitors to deliver more value than them. So that was number 2. And the last one was actually with a client, and it was completely unrelated to Nudge, but she was sharing what her main concern was at the moment. And she said that their revenues had been decreasing since the COVID restrictions, because most of their revenues come from organizing and selling in-class training. So,
right.
Physically to alumni and selling them new trainings to upgrade their skills. And of course, she couldn't do that. So I woke up in the middle of the night with that idea, which is, mixing these 3 conversations together. Our advantage is that we are building a digital career profile of our users. And thanks to that, we are very well positioned to suggest to them what are the best trainings that the school has for them based on the stage that they're at in their career and their current career challenges and interests. So it's a win for the users because they learn about useful programs that they mostly didn't know about. And they also get discounts because of their alumni status. Most of the time, they get discounts on trainings. And for the colleges, for the schools, it's also a win because they increase revenues, but they also increase alumni satisfaction and loyalty over the long run. So you're also building the conditions so that if you need speakers in the future, if you need even donations, they would be more prone to share that with you.
Super. That all sounds like it's moving in the right direction, and it's really sharpening what Nudge has to offer for your market and your target market. From those new ideas and the discussions maybe you had, how has your vision of Nudge evolved through this whole process from entering the accelerator to this point?
The great thing about working with Paralect is that you really see the benefits of all the experience that you guys have building other products. So basically, you can apply what you've seen on other products to Nudge. And especially with the accelerator, where we're mostly focusing on the technical part on the MVP, I learned a lot in terms of product development potential. So how I can offer new things that are technically possible that I didn't know were possible. So for example, I recently invited Igor, Paralect CTO, and Anton, who's our lead developer, to a meeting to discuss a partnership with another tech provider. And they showed me how we could deliver even more value to that partner so that the partnership would make a lot more sense. And they showed me basically how to integrate our 2 products in a way that was different from what I had thought about. So it brings new dimensions, and it's super valuable.
Awesome. Well, it's great to hear those sort of new opportunities are popping up throughout the process. Now, Nudge is a B2B to C product. So you're going to bring value to both universities or employers and their alumni or their staff. Is it difficult in this discovery phase that you went through? Was it difficult to keep these objectives sort of balanced when you're planning the MVP features or the design? You touched on this a little bit in one of your discussions with Kseniya. Is there one of those 2 parties that you're sort of targeting more at the early stage, or how do you find that balance?
Yeah, that's what I thought would be one of the main challenges. And it is challenging, but not because the stakeholders have different interests. I thought because interests were not aligned, that would be a challenge. The truth is that even if universities are trying to increase revenues through donations and through additional trainings, the prerequisite for that is to build alumni engagement first. So their immediate first interest is to show to the alumni that they care, to show that they can help them solve their issues, and they can even do that for free because they provide the platform to them for free. So interests are aligned, actually.
Yeah.
The main challenge is not to manage the stakeholders, but it's to manage the two teams inside Nudge that work each one on a different stakeholder. So you've got Paralect team who's mostly used to delivering value for the users. So they focus on the product users, and 99% of them are going to be students and alumni. And then Nudge sales team focuses on the buyer, which is in the app only one or two users, the admin, the college admin. Right. So in the app, it translates into two different types of features. You have the matching algorithm for the alumni, which is the more complex thing inside the app. And you've got the alumni database and dashboard for the schools. And this is a lot simpler, but it's not because it's only one or two users that we don't need to spend time for them, right? Because if you don't have a buyer in the first place, then you don't have anyone to use the platform. So I found myself having to remind a couple of times to the team that, of course, we want an amazing product for the users, but we also need to put ourselves in the school admin shoes at some point to make sure that this is sustainable in the long run.
For sure. Yeah. If they hate using it, then they're not going to want to keep using it to engage with their alumni.
Exactly. So the challenge is not to keep our stakeholders' interests aligned, is to make sure that we have constant communication between Nudge teammates.
Right. Super. I know it's this time of year, a lot of people in France take holidays, get out in the countryside, enjoy the fresh air. Well, not only France, but a lot of Europe. Have you managed to get any feedback on Nudge yet from anyone, from your colleagues, from your network? And what did they have to say?
It is true that it is very challenging to get anything done in France in August. So most of the time you start getting positive feedback before the holiday season, and then you have to wait until September so that the other stakeholders who need to be involved as well give their final validation and we sign the contract. But I did hear some positive rumors, I would say. For example, the president of one of the most prestigious business school association in France recommending Nudge to other alumni associations. So that is pretty good feedback.
Yeah, that's super awesome. You shared a book in the Slack channel with our team about how digital product design impacts society as a whole. I haven't had the chance to look at it yet, but it sounds super interesting. And when you shared it with them, you shared also some ideas of sort of having a more holistic view of the choices that we make when we design these sorts of products. What were your main takeaways from that? And how do you think it's going to affect Nudge and how you design the social network there?
So this book is called Technically Wrong, and it's written by Sarah Bocher, if I pronounce the name correctly. The main idea of this book is that digital products are not neutral. It means that you can feel the identity and the biases of the people who create the app inside the app. So we need to really be aware of that when we conceptualize. Because in some cases, it only leads to inappropriate situations, but in some other cases, that can lead to terrible results. So she gives one example, which is about this app, this software that was created to track women's menstrual cycles. And the first thing you need to do in the app when you sign up is to explain why you want to track them. So is it to become pregnant or is it to avoid pregnancy? But for example, if you are a young gay woman, let's say you're 17, the reason you may want to track them has nothing to do with getting pregnant or not getting pregnant, right? Yeah. And it can seem like it's a small detail, but imagine you're that person and you download it the first time. You're only going to be surprised. You're going to be like, all right, I don't I don't match any of these cases. They just forgot about me, and that's fine, and you move on. But if you're weekly facing these type of apps, and every time you figure that, okay, I don't fit anywhere, especially when you're a teenager, you start thinking, maybe there's something wrong with me. It looks like I don't belong anywhere. And when that becomes a pattern, that creates big issues. And that's why we've been seeing increased rates of depression and even suicide rates among teenagers. So I feel like this is something that we really need to be careful about, because we've got a lot more responsibility than we think, especially when every single user that we have, every school has an average of 40,000 students and alumni. So we're not talking about an edge case, right? Every day, one of the students is going to be that person. So as app creators, we start with good intentions. We see a problem, we want to solve it, and we get excited, and we're like, okay, I'm going to change the world. So we really focus on our idea and our product, but sometimes we tend to forget a bit about the audience. And I feel that we have a responsibility to slow down a bit and make sure that we are not also creating problems in the future, to make sure that we prevent that.
For sure, yeah. And when you're designing these things and building these things, it seems like logically you want to appeal to a large block of the population. And in order to do that, you can sort of, in your mind, you can sort of forget that there are those cases that it might not be appealing to. But if you look at the overall numbers, you say, okay, 70% of the people like it, 4 or 5% were offended, but we're growing anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. The focus should not be just the growth. Yeah. We're building products for someone. The only thing you need to think about when you're building it is that someone. That's the only way not to make big mistakes.
Interesting. I will have to have a look at the book and read through it. Thanks for sharing it with the team. I hope it helps to make Nudge even better. What are you most looking forward to in the second build phase of the accelerator? I know you've already met the team. You've had a demo, I think, last week. How did the demo go? And what's going on there?
The demo went really well. I think they recorded the demo, and you can see my face when they're showing it. And I was quite pleased. Demo went really well. Anton and his summer interns made an amazing job. So that's really good. So about the future. So now that we've been talking about features and requirements and acceptance criteria, I'm mostly looking forward to testing the product, and really see how it works. And I'm also curious to test it within our own team, with Paralect and at Nudge, and of course with the first beta testers. But the reason I'm curious is that it is a very rare conversation to talk about each other's dream. Especially at work. That's not the type of thing you talk about with your colleagues at the office, right? But I've seen the impact of starting that type of conversation when I was manually testing the ID. So I picked a group of friends, ex-colleagues, and I connected them. So I was doing the algorithm myself, and they were helping each other. And what I saw is that the relationships between people completely changed. Like the whole tone, the whole atmosphere within the community changed, because you see people that create bonds that are a lot stronger than before. You see people who are grateful for the help they receive. You see people who feel more respected because of the skills and the expertise they can share with others. So overall, you see people who are a lot more fulfilled. And this is exactly what every millennial dreams of seeing at the office every morning when they get to work, right? So now imagine that most companies adopted a product like Nudge at the office. That's when you change the meaning of work.
That sounds so promising. And, sign me up for the early batch of testers. I'm ready. I'll be happy to do it.
That's great to hear.
All right, Julie, that's all the questions I have for you today. Anything else you want to share about the project, about your lovely time away on holiday in France, or any other questions for me?
Well, my time away is only part time away, I would say.
Yeah.
I try to work with the team, let's say 5 hours a day, and the rest of the time I go hiking, climbing, and I try to enjoy the sea a little bit.
Fantastic. Well, we're testing a pop-up office right now in Batumi, Georgia. So
Okay.
the company Paralect rented a house there, and the first group of workers are there. I think it's 10 or so people only, but they're having a work away in Georgia for a couple weeks, and then we'll send the second batch. So just for people who aren't quite ready to go 100% remote, or they just want to get out of Minsk for a little bit, seems like they're enjoying it.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds like
Yeah,
that type of company I would like to work for.
awesome. All right, Julie, thanks so much for talking with me, and good
Very
luck
welcome.
in this next stage for Nudge, and I can't wait to test it out.
Thanks a lot, Jen. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.